Hi, you're listening to a Life in Quebec podcast. For more, visit lifeinquebec.com.
I'm Andrew Greenfield for lifeinquebec.com, and I'm joined now by Elizabeth Diaga, a singer and performer from Montreal, who's touring with her show, Queens of Rock. Elizabeth, thanks for speaking to us.
You're so welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
Good. So tell me about your passion for music.
Ooh, that could be a very, very long talk, actually, you know. My passion for music just, came because my mother is an opera singer.
Okay.
And my father was also a singer. He's a sculptor now. But I was born and raised in music all my life, so touring all my life in various theaters around the world. So that's how my passion for music came. I actually wanted to be a jazz ballet dancer, but
Wow. Now, your father. You say your father was a singer before he was a sculptor. What was his genre of singing?
Tango.
Okay, so we've got an opera singer and a tango expert. Now you are putting on a show, the Queens of Rock. That's quite far removed from your mum and dad, isn't it?
Well, you know how kids are. They like to rebel from their parents.
Yeah.
So, I discovered Pat Benatar actually while I was in New York, while my mom was living there. So I would spend my days at the theater, but then I discovered Pat Benatar through MTV, actually.
Wonderful.
So I went on from there, I guess.
Well, clearly, you've been born into and raised in a musical family. How did you get into singing and performing?
I actually got into singing and performing when my parents sent me at a musical camp.
Okay.
I was about 15 years old. So I used to dance ballet and whatnot. And at one point I discovered I actually got sick. And this is funny because Ann Wilson from Heart also had the same thing as me, mononucleosis. So, you know what mono is?
No, tell me more.
Oh my God. It's actually a autoimmune system sickness. It's like when you're younger in like your teens.
Yeah.
People it's like a flu.
Right.
It's mono. So you get very tired and whatnot. One day I was listening to Madonna. And I started singing to Madonna because I couldn't dance anymore. I was like in bed, sick, and I couldn't go to my dance classes and whatnot. So I listened to Madonna, fell in love with her, and that's why she's one of my queens in the show.
Yeah.
Even though she's not labeled as a rocker, to me Madonna is a rocker because she is so in charge of every level of her business. Anyways, I'm going on and on.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I went to the Madonna show at the Videotron Centre a few weeks ago, and you say she's not a rocker, but certain tunes of hers you could class as that, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, and of course I rockify them. So.
Well, this is one of my questions a little bit further on. I just want you to tell me who are your rock heroes? Who inspires you?
Listen, there's so many. Of course, every woman that I chose to interpret in Queens of Rock inspired me on a different level. Like you have like Anne and Nancy Wilson. For me, were the beginning of rock. Actually, Anne Wilson, because of her voice is so distinctive, and their personality resembles mine. They have a background a little bit like mine. They traveled a lot and stuff. Pat Benatar, who I said before, was the first female rocker to have the first woman to have a video on MTV, and that was the first time we saw an image, on TV and put music to an image. My goodness, Annie Lennox. I think she is such a great lady, great woman. Joan Jett. Closer to Home, Alana Miles, Alanis Morissette, so many women.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming to see the show. I can tell you that. Now, you're touring the Queens of Rock show at the moment. How's it gone so far, and where have you performed?
Well, touring. We're doing actually pretty big venues. We've done. I don't know if you're familiar with the Théâtre Hector Charlin.
Yep.
That's in L'Assomption, which is a great theater. That's where we did the premiere. We went to the casino in Hall, the casino in Lac Ligny.
Yep.
And we did closer to Montreal. We're doing Montreal on March 12th at a place called the Rialto, which is a beautiful theater with, it has how do you say that in English? Un cachet. It has, I like theaters with history, and in Quebec City, it's been my dream to play there for such a long time. I love Quebec City. I think it has a lot of how do you call it? Cachet. How do you say?
Do you know? I honestly don't know. So you've mentioned areas of cities and towns in Quebec province. Have you gone across? Do you plan to go across Canada, or have you done outside the province too?
Not yet. The show is very young, actually. So for me, it's like a beginning this year because I have an associate producer now that's helping me. I am producer, creator of the Queens of Rock show.
Yeah.
So for anyone who knows, when you start a business, it's not always easy to get your message across. So now I have a new collaborator.
Yeah.
So the show for me is like starting once again. Quebec City will be show number 1.
Well, okay. Now, so you're coming to Quebec City in the next couple of weeks or so as we record this. Why put on a show in Quebec City? What draws you here?
Oh my goodness! Well, of course, because I'm in a show that's called Rock Story. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah.
Which is a 70s and 80s review with Jean Ravel. So we've been to Quebec City many, many times, and I actually had a number 1 hit back in 1996.
I'm going to Google that. It's got to be on YouTube, isn't it?
Of course.
Oh, I'll find it.
I had a video called Touche Pas, which means don't touch.
Yeah.
Which was about women not being having the right to be feminine without being objectified. So Queens of Rock is pretty much like maybe the la suite.
Yeah, the follow up to it. Yeah.
The follow up, the logical for me. But Quebec City is a beautiful city, and it's a city where people love to rock.
Yeah. Oh, you can tell that.
Answer, because Quebec City rocks so much.
I mean, the shows that are on here year round, the names that come here, and it's obvious that this region, people here love rock music. So you're coming to the right place, I think. Now you mentioned earlier a few names. You reeled off a few names, your heroes, people that inspire you. So I think my next question is fairly redundant, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What songs or artists are we going to be hearing during the show?
Well, I can't tell you all the songs because I like to have, give surprises to the public, and I think that the fun thing about Queens of Rock is exactly that. The songs are made in medley format because there's so many great hits, from these women. Mm-hmm. But of course, I said before, Heart, Debbie Harry from Blondie, Joan Jett, Alana Miles, Eurythmics. There's even some Sinead O'Connor. They're very poignant moments in the show. Also, you'll see the show is made a little bit like an opera. So,
well, I'm so looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Now my next thing for you is do you impersonate the original artist, or do you put your own stamp on it? Do you interpret it your way, or?
I don't impersonate. I do put my own stamp, actually, but I keep in mind. That was one of the major things in choosing the women I wanted to pay tribute to, is that I had to feel comfortable. First of all, defending their message.
Yeah.
And they're all songs that I've listened to and that I know that I can sing. They have I have a very strong melodic attachment to these songs, so I would not dare interpret songs that I don't feel comfortable with or that I know my vocals cannot,
Yeah, fair enough. So where next after Quebec City then? What are the future plans for you and for the Queens of Rock tour?
Oh my goodness, the world.
Good.
We'll be doing Montreal on March 12th, and we are also preparing, for the festivals in and around Quebec. Of course, people can go on the queensofrock.ca website. I'm also planning, of course, to go to the rest of Canada and a little trip to the United States eventually.
Well, Elizabeth, thanks for speaking to us, and good luck with the Queens of Rock show and everything else that you're doing. I'm Andrew Greenfield for lifeinquebec.com. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
This is a Life in Quebec podcast. For more, visit lifeinquebec.com. Thanks for listening.